Hey, families and kids, welcome to the Next Gen Follow podcast. Can you believe that we are in week 7? That just seems wild to me. This has been such a ride. I've loved being a part of your week. I've loved being able to just be a part of what you're doing and how you're learning about God and his amazing attributes. This week, we are learning about God's power. And this is an exciting one. We're learning about God's power, and we are reading scripture from Jeremiah 32, chapter 32, verse 17. And we are going to jump into that. But before we jump into that, I've got a code word. Are you ready? The code word for this week is disco. The code word for week 7 is disco. So kids, make sure that you write that down and you share that on the weekend. Let's jump into the scripture. It says this: Lord and King, you have reached out your great and powerful arm. You have made the heavens and the earth. Nothing is too hard for you. This is a really powerful piece of scripture. If you can just pause and listen to this piece of scripture, let me read it again. Lord and King, you have reached out your great and powerful arm. You have made the heavens and the earth. Nothing is too hard for you. I don't know about you, but when I read that and when I really allow that to just to sink in, it feels so relaxing. It feels like a weight is lifted off of me. I serve a God, and I belong to a God that nothing is too hard for. He can literally do anything. He made the heavens and the earth. He is so powerful. Our key points today is this: God is all powerful. Nothing is too hard for him. And key point number 2 is we can rely on God's power in our own lives. Sometimes it feels like that power is so far that we can't have access to it. It's just a power that we know God has, but he's not going to use that power in my life. He's not going to do that. The things in my life, he's not going to waste his time on. But we have access to that power in God. Let's take a look at our family discussion questions. Here's discussion question number 1. How do you feel knowing that God made the heavens and the earth? And what's one thing that you love that God made? So pause right now, talk about how you feel that God was able to make the heavens and earth. And what's one thing that you love that God has made in your life? Awesome. Let's take a look at question number 2. It says this: can we all share a time when you experienced God's power in your own life? Talk about a time that you experienced God's power. A time where God did something that was really, really hard that you think he couldn't do, that he did. Parents, great opportunity for you to share a story with your kids also. Question number 3 is this: why is it important to remember that nothing is too hard for God? Why is that something that's really, really important for us to hold on to and remember? Pause and talk as a family. Awesome. Well, I hope that you've had enriching discussions and conversations, because again, understanding God's attribute is one thing, memorizing scripture is one thing, but how do we take what we've learned? How do we take these pieces of scripture and actually implement them and use them in our own lives? Use them as adults, as parents, but also use them as kids when we're at school with our friends and our teachers. And God's power is one of those ones that can make us feel so strong, knowing that we are a child of a God who is all powerful, who made all of this and who made the heavens and who nothing is too hard for. That is pretty great news. Well, I hope that you have an amazing rest of your day, or if you're just heading to bed, good night, and I will see you next week. Bye, friends.